Hello, everybody. Here we go. I guess you could gather around the imaginary digital campfire because I'm gonna tell my grandfather's story of the bird. I just call it the bird. But let you say whatever, bird, whatever. I'll give a little background about my grandfather. My grandfather was born in 1905 in San Diego, Texas. I think that's maybe about 15, 20 minutes or miles away from Kingsville, Texas, which I had family there. When I went to school down there, I actually met a few of my family, the Charles family. And his name is Ventura Charles. And he lived in San Diego, Texas with his family, and they were farmers, ranchers and stuff, because pretty much back then everybody was, you're a rancher, dude. That's what you are. You're a farmer, you're a rancher, manual labor. You're out in the sun. I'm sure it was hot. 1905. Well, he was born in 1905. My grandmother was born in 1929. It's kind of figuring this happened. It was saying he was young. He was about as old as my son when this happened. So I figured he was about 12 or 13 years old. So 1912, 1915. So there wasn't too much going on out there. I'm sure they're riding on horses still. Nobody had cars. Nobody had, TVs. Basically it was all, just being out working and talking. That's probably one of the ways he was able to become a good storyteller, because he was, they were isolated out there in middle, San Diego, Texas, nothing around. I guess it all the way it was explained to me, the story is that they were having they started noticing my grandfather and my grandmother, my great grandfather, his name was Ventura Charles Sr., and my grandmother, her name was Petra Luna Charles. Petra Luna Charles. Pretty name. And well, when they were living out there, they were living, of course he was living with his mom and dad, and I think he had I'm trying to think of how many brothers he had. I think he had 3 or 4. And he had a big family. Mexican families are big. So well, they started noticing this appearance of a weird bird, like around the house. It wasn't really it was a regular bird, but it just was acting weird. And he says that like it would like walk around the house, and they started noticing, because back then that was entertainment, just watching things. There's nothing else to do. They didn't have anything. So it was either reading the Bible, reading books, or just observing around Mother Nature, going outside, doing stuff like that. So they started noticing this bird, coming around the house, and it would just like peck and walk around the house. And then it started getting to the point where the bird was there all the time. It was, and they started noticing that it was not normal behavior for an animal like that, a bird, to be acting that way. So they say that it did that for almost a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. It came around the house, but then it started to not leave. The bird didn't fly away. It stayed around the house for they said for a bit. Then it started wanting to come inside the house, the bird. So that's when these stories go back. Who knows how long these stories go back about the lechuza, the bird. This is old folklore. So these people knew about what was happening, and they knew that that there's something different, there's something weird going on with the damn bird. So, they watched it for a couple of days and they decided, well, they're gonna trap it. They're gonna try to catch it. I don't know why, but I mean, they were gonna try to catch the bird. So they decided a plan to to build a trap for it, and I think after a day or so, they ended up catching the bird. And what happened was, well, the way my grandfather explained it is like, when they went to go look at when they caught the bird, it's kind of weird. It tripped me out when I first heard it. I told it to my sister, because she told me, it's like, I never heard this story. You know this story? I said, yeah, I know this story. I told it to my sister and she freaked out. And then I told it to my brother-in-law, she freaked out too. Because I've had this story for a long time, and I'm surprised I never told my sister. So they ended up catching the bird. And when they went and tried to move the box, the bird started cussing them in Spanish. Yeah. The bird started cussing in Spanish. So these people are like, they don't, so it scared the family bad. I noticed that everybody ran inside the house, and they, of course, they're like, I mean, who are you gonna go to talk about this with anybody? Because supposedly the lechuzas are, supposed to be witches. Witches supposedly can turn themselves into anything, any type of human form. And that's another story I'm going to bring up probably in the series. There's another animal story that I have about witchcraft. And, things like this. It's kind of scary. I'm not going to say anything else. So they end up catching the bird. The bird's there. And it starts cussing them in Spanish. I don't know exactly what they said, but it scared the shit out of them. Guarantee it. So they all ran inside, and then about, I think a day later, they went very cautiously. Obviously, just imagine trying to go. You hear something supernatural like that, I don't think it scares you. Just imagine trying to go back to it. I wouldn't even fucking go. I would just, oh hell no. I would never go outside until that thing was dead or gone. Well, they went and they said, well, we're gonna have to solve our curiosity and lift the box up, or I don't know, crate, whatever they used to catch the thing. And when they flipped the box over, it was empty. There was nothing there. There was nothing there. It was gone. That it just disappeared. It wasn't even no more. Yeah, I remember I heard that story. It freaked me out. Because you hear about, it's like everybody's got like a lechuza story or something in the family, man. Everybody's got one of those lechuza stories or a ghost story. That's just our heritage. And we look at where we come from, all the stories, all our magical beliefs and stuff like that. It's ingrained in our culture, which is great though, because we have fantastic culture. But yeah, I remember hearing that story and I was like, oh man, it turned my stomach, made me sick, because I mean, my grandfather was a good storyteller, but I mean, you can't just think of something like that up. It had to be, I believe it's probably a true story, because the myth of the lechuza. And the whistling, you hear the whistle, that's what everybody says, oh, I hear the whistle. I hear the whistle. I heard a whistle not too long ago outside late at night, like 3 or 4 in the morning. I didn't want to whistle back at it though. I was like, nah, because that's what they say, is it whistles, you got to whistle back at it. And it'll come to you. And fuck that. Ain't nothing come to me. Not that. There's some other stories I'm going to tell. One involves a house I lived in. not just me, but my half brother, my brother. He lived with he lived in the house as well with us, and I made I don't know, the last video I saw, I talked about doing a series, and he said Alamito. Yeah, that's the story. Now I'm gonna try to see if I could contact him, and so me and him could do a dual video. I'm gonna be talking to him about it, and it'll be both our experiences living in the house. I'm gonna see if I could get him to do a YouTube video on it, me and him talking about it, because it's an interesting, weird story, and I want you to hear it because I want people to go, oh no, you're just making this up. No, this shit happened, and I got a witness. He's credible too. So I'll have an update about my situation with the city. Not very too big. It's changed really a little bit. Things have changed. I'll be later on probably. But besides that, I'll see y'all later. Hope y'all liked the little story I told y'all. And bye-bye.